My dear Toastmasters, guests, and friends, welcome to the world's biggest platform to hone your leadership skills and communication skills. We are Toastmasters, where leaders are made. Not just leaders, confident leaders, not just speakers, confident speakers. I welcome you
It's
to our
9:15.
open heart with District 31, where we'll invite Toastmasters and we'll learn more about their Toastmasters journey. I'm Veera Sriram, your public relations manager. On this episode, we have a duo on our talk show. It's not often that we have two wonderful Toastmasters from the same club representing the spirit of Toastmasters from their club. Fall River Innovators. I hope whole district knows about this fabulous club, and we have two passionate members from this club, Toastmaster Chris and Toastmaster Merrill. I will add them to our talk show and we can start the conversation. Toastmaster Chris, how are you doing?
Very good, sir. Thank you for having us.
Toastmaster Merrill, how are you doing?
I'm on top of the world.
That is the spirit that we need. I ask all my questions to all my guests your Toastmasters journey. Where did it start? How did it start? Why did it start? Toastmaster Chris, would you like to talk about that?
Well, I come from the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and there was a guy that I interacted with, and he was really, really shy, just barely spoke. And he got involved in Toastmasters, and all of a sudden he was like pretty active and communicating. I'm like, whoa, what happened to you? It was great. Well, I came out to the East Coast. I moved out here in about 2000, and I thought, well, it'd be great to improve my public speaking skills. I was an entertainer, so I didn't have trouble getting in front of people, and I didn't feel shy, but I'd always be lost for what to say, right? So there's a lot of elements to Toastmaster. We all have something different that we can work on, and the curriculum is beautiful for that. So I always wanted to be part of a Toastmasters club, but where I lived, they were all really far away, and it just never worked by the time getting off work and all these other things. So I started a nonprofit called the Business Innovation Center here in Fall River, and we're about building communities of communities. I thought, hey, that would be a great community. And I looked around, and it was like a donut. There were all these clubs all around us, but there was nothing in like in Fall River. I guess there had been in the past, but anyway, so I what's the best way to get involved? I went to one of the conferences, and I met some of the people that were in leadership there. And I said, hey, I want to start a club. And they're all like, oh, cool, because they get credit for a DTM. So they're all excited. Yeah, a club, that'd be great. Help me get my DTM. And so I brought them here. We worked really hard. It's really hard to charter a club. And we got our 21 members and kicked that off. And I've been a member, I think that was 6.5 or 7 years ago. And I've been a member of the board as a founding member for that time period. This is my first year as president. And one of the beautiful things that I've had is I watched everybody else make mistakes, and I learned from those, but I also watched their successes and the things that they all did right, because we learn from everyone. And so I've been able to just kind of take that, not as me, but as what I've learned, and I've molded that into how I execute the role as president this year. And I can talk more about that, but that was my journey to get here. Our club has gone through a lot of unique challenges. And really one of the things I'd love to just tell everybody, the absolute key to your success is the strength of your officer club, okay, or the officers in your club, and the ability for them to work together. Because one of the things that I've learned in leadership and other businesses and other situations, and there's kind of two kinds of leadership. One, if you're in kind of a corporate space, you're like, do this. Well, it's the bottom line. We got to get things done. Blah blah blah, and you're a little bit more of a force like that, or you can be. And then there's the other style, which is really all about, and you have to do this in any kind of a volunteer organization. You just have to. It's all about motivating other people. And I like to inspire and motivate people, and I try to lead with leadership. So one of the things that I've actually done this year is that I really focused on trying to get our team organized and have a plan. I created a big strategic plan, very similar to the vision.
Yeah.
And then kind of said, well, if you do this and you do this and you do this, hey guys, we're going to be way over here when we're all done. Yeah. And I kind of laid out this roadmap for everybody to follow, so we were all on the same page. It was actually one page that I fit it onto, so we were on the same page. And the beauty is, so then I would do. I read this book called E-Myth Revisited, which really talks a lot about how this guy, transforms his company by making it his priority to really help support all the people around him. So as Merrill had mentioned, I had a goal of so many members that we were going to try and achieve, and we had some, our bottom line of what we needed to get done this year. And the beauty is, Merrill is such a go-getter, and if I help motivate him, that's great, but he's a real self-starter, doesn't need a lot of motivation. He really goes. But the other people were motivated too. And we have someone like Merrill, and I'm really glad that he was able to join us here today. Merrill he's just, I did a 360 review on him, and I couldn't find a 4. It had to be all 5s. He's really just one of the nicest people to work with, and that inspires me. And the challenge is that, so I had this baseline of things for us to do. Well, people like Merrill, he took us from 13 members to 32.
Wow.
We're very soon going to be to 35. Wow. Well, the beauty is the good and the bad. The exciting thing is everybody that motivates the other people, and then everything, it creates momentum. Well, as the president, then he creates more work for me, because now I have to work on mentoring. I have my list of all the people I have to call and for my mentoring, and so to really meet that objective of supporting everybody on the team, we had a guy. I have to work harder. I have to do more. I have to make more phone calls and those kinds of things. So he's creating more work for me, which is great. It's welcome. And the other people are too. Oh, we want to add a speech-a-thon. We want to add this. And oh, by the way, with 32 members, we need more opportunities for people to speak. So we're collaborating with other clubs, and I can talk a little bit more about that. But that whole ability to, help inspire, motivate, and then be there to support the other people. And I'm learning a lot through this experience. And I'm sure I'm going to make my fair share of mistakes, but hopefully somebody that succeeds me will learn from those as well. So that's I'm really having fun. I love it.
Congratulations on 7 years. Your energy is so good, Toastmaster Chris, that it is infectious. On this note, let me bring in the architect who has revived a club from 13 members to 32 members. This is a success story, and let's invite the architect. Everyone knows this Toastmaster Merrill. Would you like to share your Toastmasters journey?
Well, absolutely. And I do want to say I am on top of the world this morning. Great being here. And I thank you very much for the invitation. I started my Toastmaster career after I read a book by Zig Ziglar, See You at the Top. And I had just finished being in JC's, which was Junior Chamber of Commerce. I was a vice president also in that organization. But after a certain age, you can't be they kick you out. So I was looking for a new organization. I was reading See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. And it said, he talked about Toastmasters. I lived in Rhode Island. At the time, there were only 2 Toastmaster clubs in Rhode Island. Today, in Division G, we have at least 13 clubs, if not more. But it took me 6 months to find the Toastmasters Club. But once I found it, I came, and I don't know if people know George Gange, but he was a district treasurer. And I wanted to join that night. And I had my checkbook. So I wrote out the check for the dues, and he didn't want to take it. So I asked him again. I said, George, I want to be a member. He didn't want to take it. I asked him a third time. So finally, with my persistence, he took my check, and I joined that specific night. So that was the Ocean State Toastmasters, which I was a president of 7 times, president, and then I lost count as far as vice president of membership. But there were 3 times that I brought that club up to membership of 37. So when I became vice president of membership on July 1st of this year, Chris says to me, he says, well, we want to get up to 20. And I just really didn't understand that number of 20. It didn't compute with me. Okay. So right as of last Thursday, we're at 32. In another 2 weeks, we'll be at 35. And our goals have shifted. So we're looking to grow enough to maybe get 50 people into the membership, and then we'll split the club. So, and we will, we want to do that by June 30th, if you will. But one of the other reasons, I mean, I have tons of friends. I consider Chris as one of my friends. He's married to Sony. I don't know if you ever met Sony, but what a spark plug, what a person of integrity, energy, love, and nurturing. And I got to tell you, she bought me breakfast one day. So I really loved that. That was like just so nice. That's one of the reasons that I am in Toastmasters.
Amazing. Toastmaster Merrill, Toastmaster Chris, what you're doing. It's no secret that the district is going through a challenge finding members, retaining members, but your club is adding 32 members and you are targeting 50 members. That is an area. You are creating an area. That's unbelievable. Thank you for all the hard work. Thank you really from the bottom of my heart. Toastmaster Merrill, I'll ask you this question: is the impact of Toastmasters on your personal life, professional life, social life, spiritual life? Would you like to share something about that?
Well, as far as my personal life, it's a very, very big part of my social part of living. So like I said, I have a lot of friends in my Toastmasters club, also throughout District 31. I've met some incredible people, Stefano and Anna Kaufman, many people I consider friends. And then we, even at the Four River Innovators, once a month, we gather before the meeting and we go to 99 Restaurant and we have dinner. So that's the social part. As far as the corporate part or the professional part, I was a relationship banker for 23 years, and I used to get a lot of my customers or clients to come to Toastmasters meetings and actually become members. So it just intertwined, and of course, when the skills that you acquire in Toastmasters, we would be a big regional meeting. I had no problem standing up and speaking, although I had no problem standing up and speaking, I think, as soon as I came out of my mom's womb. So it just came with me. But this, I'm not afraid, it's just very easy. I love to speak up. And then, like, I remember in one of the banking regional meetings, I remember speaking up and everybody was like because I spoke up to one of the executives and everybody was like wanted to go under the table. But after, the executive came over to me after the meeting and he thanked me for bringing up the subject that I brought up. So that's what Toastmasters does for you. It gives you inner self-confidence, increases your self-image, and it helps you to smile.
Thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Merrill. Toastmaster Chris, would you like to share the impact of Toastmasters on your personal life, professional life, social and spiritual life?
Well, sure. Before I get to that, though, I wanted to just say something about Merrill as an example that's very typical. Merrill is very comfortable communicating. He's an excellent communicator. And by the way, a tip for you guys, the absolute key to grow membership is this tool right here called a telephone. It is the most important tool you own for growing your membership, and everything is about relationships. But my point about Merrill as an example, and several of the other members in the club, and one of the things I really love and appreciate is that we see progress. We see the growth. Toastmasters is such a great—
It's 9:30.
thought out that you can't not see the growth, which is fantastic. So as far as and Merrill's done a great job with that. As far as how it's impacted my life, and it all comes down to relationships. I don't know if it's a proverb or whatever, but there's an old saying, I guess, in the Chinese culture or other cultures that says, let's be friends first. Okay? And Merrill has taken that approach, and that's one of the things that's really helped us grow together. We've had some challenges in the past where the club stopped being fun, and that didn't help our membership. It didn't help the morale and everything. So one of the things that Merrill has really helped impact our club in this case is it's made it fun again. And I try to do that by I'm kind of a jokester, and I crack a lot. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, but I crack some little witty things once in a while, and to keep things light. And by being a fun club and having those energetic meetings makes all the difference in the world. As that relates to my personal life, we all know in business or in our personal lives that relationships are everything. And this is all about creating and building really great relationships. So not only have I built some great relationships and met some friends. I'm glad to call you a friend, Vera, now. It's wonderful to be in your circle, and I've met so many incredible people, and it's all people that are really passionate about growing and getting better. And that's something that I'm passionate about as well. I want to be better. I want to grow. I want to learn and be my best self. And the beauty of Toastmasters and a why to get involved is because it puts you in a situation where you are watching and seeing in a very short time period, quite often, people grow and overcome challenges. My wife, I tell this story all the time. She's wonderful. She's relatively shy. And she would do things like we'd be driving and we'd have to order wood. We heat with wood. So she'd like dial the phone number and go, "Here, you talk to him." And like, "You talk to him." I don't know what to say. Well, now I can't get her to shut up. I mean, I love her, and I would say that really lightheartedly. She's a wonderful woman, and I've watched it transform her ability. English is a second language for her, and Portuguese or Spanish and so forth, it's kind of backwards. So you change your verbs and stuff around. So because of that, it changes how she thinks about things sometimes. And this has really been great to help her organize her process in presenting information and communicating. The same for me in that, again, I've never had a hard time getting in front of people, but I would kind of go, duh, what do I say? And the ability, somebody came to one of our meetings and we were talking, and they shared with me this 5-finger speech concept, something bold and powerful to get people's attention, and the 3 points that you want to get across, and a call to action. And I'm like, wow, it sounds so simple, but those little techniques and learning from each other, I learned that from another Toastmaster. Those types of things, they impact your life. And for example, when we go through pathways. I started when we still had the books, and I went through the books 2 times before I finished my second pathway. So I've kind of been through the program 4 times. And the first time I practiced my speeches, right? I'm sitting there looking at my watch, and I got really down to the word and the timing of the words. And I was right on target with that. The second time, I was inspired by, politicians having that ability to really kind of talk a little bit more impromptu, kind of what we do with our table topics in our meeting. And so I said, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to prepare. I'm going to go through and I'd take a little flashcard and I'd write, my bullet points, and I'd have my 5 points, and I practiced that in all the different types of exercises. And that really helped me a lot. Now, I've gone back and forth between doing really prepared speeches and some that are a little bit more impromptu. But that preparation was fantastic. It's really helped me in so many communication circles and friends and relationship circles across the board. And so as far as, it's really transformed my ability to communicate better, my insights into being a better leader. And leading isn't about, demanding, it's about inspiring other people and helping uplift them. So it's really helped me find ways of tuning into people and figuring out how I can help motivate them to do their best. And one of the things that, that I really love about working with Merrill, as an example, is that he's a very sensitive person, a very, very kind, respectful person. He has a very open mind, and he's able to tune into people, and he's able to motivate them to do different things that will improve their skills and their experience with Toastmasters. So to conclude, it's really transformed my life and my relationships and the people around me that I care about, namely my wife. It's really had an impact on her, which has improved our relationship. And relationships, I really think is where it has the biggest transformation, because I read a book by self-help guy, I forget which, Dr. Phil, right? Okay, and because I wanted to help fix somebody, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, this person's got a problem. I want help figuring out how to. And then the first thing it said, well, we're gonna fix you first because you're reading the book, and I think that's the key. Is we take it internally, we fix ourselves, and that helps us, have a better impact on other people. And I hope that I'm able to do that through my experience with Toastmasters.
Thank you, Chris, for sharing the impact of Toastmasters. Now, in your words, why should someone join Toastmasters, and why should someone join Fall River Innovator Toastmasters, if you can put it into your words?
Most fun club ever. Okay. So let me touch on this point, because we were talking about how some clubs are really having a hard time. Yeah. And our club is doing really well. And it's really, I attribute a lot of that spark plug to the momentum that Merrill's been able to create with membership, because members are the energy. And we've got some fantastic new members that are bringing incredible energy. And then we capitalize on that and push it and help them just drive the steamship forward. As a strong club, one of the things that we're doing right now, we have a meeting coming up with the Salve Regina club, and we have a meeting coming up with the Sharon Toastmasters. And so the Sharon Toastmasters, I think there are 6 or so people. Well, what we're doing is, it's hard with 6 or 4, or some of these clubs are really small. Yeah. It's hard for them to get any momentum, because Toastmasters sells itself. If you have a fun, exciting meeting, people are already showing up because they have an interest. They're ready to buy, pretty, like in a sales process. They're ready to go. They want to just feel good. So if you have a real good, feel good, fun, exciting meeting that really goes through the steps of what Toastmasters is all about, they're going to join. So you have to be a follow through and get people to, you have to, I don't want to say the sell, but you have to close the deal. Like the guy that finally closed with Merrill and getting him to sign up. You have to close the deal. But if you have those powerful meetings, those clubs will be able to prosper and do better. Now, there's 2 parts of that. One is that if you show up to a meeting with 4 people, hey, I finally got called in, and it's kind of a dud because it didn't have enough people to fill in the roles, and it's kind of like how are we going to do this? And that is going to leave a bad impression on Toastmasters. So it does all of us good to have people go and have a rewarding experience. So if I put this out to I challenged the Framingham specifically. I went to their club for their club contest. What an an impressive club. They have 34 members. They've grown quite a bit. I look at the charts and they're kind of with us. I challenge you guys to go out and partner with smaller clubs. Two things are going to happen. One, you're going to help that club get some momentum, which is going to make their experience, the people that they invite, Toastmaster experience better. And B, when you start getting 34 members, you've got to find speaking slots. So you're also creating new speaking opportunities for your members. The key thing for our club growing so fast with 34 members, the absolute most important thing for us to do is to engage those new members right away and get them as quickly as possible to get their icebreaker done. Get them plugged in, make sure that they're over all the technological hurdles and all those kinds of things. And if a strong club helps the weaker club, all of our boats are going to float higher. And yeah, that's what I have to say about that. I think that's a really important thing. Oh, we were mentioning Merrill was, and we talked about this at our last little after meeting about growing to say 50 and then maybe splitting in half.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that can happen in doing that, and I challenge Framingham to do the same. You guys, come on, we're going head to head. Let's do it. Get to 50 and split, because but when you do that, when you create your new leadership teams, create a liaison that's kind of in between, that connects with your area director, your division director. So somebody, and it doesn't have to be an official role. There's plenty of opportunities in there for an unofficial role, somebody that's going to glue the two together. Keep that synergy between the two clubs. Because if people can go to different club meetings, so this one meets on Thursdays, this one meets on Wednesdays, people have different opportunities and they can really help each other. Social functions that they can do together. There's a lot of things that you can have strength in numbers by doing that. So just because you're splitting into two clubs doesn't mean that you have to operate in two silos. That collaboration, I really think if we have a theme for this year for all of the stuff that everybody's doing in Toastmasters, if we want to keep the momentum with Toastmasters, we have to have great experiences, and it's all about collaboration.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chris.
I get wound up and I keep going sometimes. So
No, that's amazing message of collaboration. Toastmaster Merrill, I'd like to ask you this question is, what was the secret behind 13 to 32? And in your words, why should someone join Toastmasters?
Well, from 13 to 32, it's salesmanship. That's a negative term to a lot of people, but everybody's actually in sales in their life, whether it's the mother taking the son to the doctor, or someone proposing to another person to get married, or just getting your mechanic to give you a lower price. It's all salesmanship. So the first thing that I want to do with the people is I want to connect with them. And as Chris had referred to relationships, we want to build a relationship. I really don't want people to just come in and sign up for the first meeting and then never come back. We have a little bit of that. So those are paper members, or they sign up and they're really too scared. So sometimes what I'm starting to do now is I'm starting to wait till they come to maybe the second meeting to make sure that they really want to do this. As far as in sales, we have what we call a pipeline. So many people that you expect to join up. And I don't need to worry about the pipeline, because I could stop now and we could be successful.
True.
But I want the people to join because they want to, for their reasons, not for my reasons. So that's the first thing. I do welcome them, and that's one of the things too in both my clubs. we are very welcoming to people. Not only myself, but the other officers, specifically the Sergeant at Arms. We just make sure that they feel warm and welcome, and that is usually very successful. What Chris does at the end of the meeting is...
It's 9:45.
What Chris does at the end of the meeting is he asks the guests what they liked about the meeting. And I do, if I feel they're ready, I do ask them to do the application right then and there. Because if you let them, sometimes if they do come back to a second, or they say they're going to come back to a second meeting, you're starting from zero again, and you have to get them all excited and enthused, and they don't come back. They don't come back. So definitely one of the key things is, if they're ready, to ask them to do the application that night. And the second thing, as Chris had shown us before, is the phone. I am on the phone usually right after a day or two after the meeting. I follow up before the meeting. When I was president of Ocean State Toastmasters, I used to take Sunday evenings before the meeting, and I actually spent 2 hours on the phone. I talked to each and every member. And I developed a lot of relationships. I had a very, very, very strong club. And I remember one time I couldn't be at a meeting. And so next time I came, one of the people said, the club ran on its own. You don't need to be here anymore. And I said, well, then I did my job, because by having people be able to run the club on their own, then the job is successful. And by the way, the job of a president is to have no jobs at all. The job of the president is to have all the other officers doing their job. Also, we have. I also write thank you notes to people, which is really very powerful, and I'm just really very thankful that they gave me, or the club, an opportunity to spend some time with us. I mean, their time's very valuable. There's a million things going on in a lot of people's lives. And then in addition to that, we have the mentorship program. So I'm in charge of that. I assign a person a mentor, a Toastmaster, a mentor, and we want that mentor to be with them for at least three speeches minimum, so that the Toastmaster can bounce off ideas, learn how to write the speech, learn basically not to be scared. I think a lot of people are scared for that, and we have the mentorship program which is very, very key. So Vera, we would like you also to become a member of our club.
Come join us.
Absolutely. I would definitely. It is so fun. And I will definitely consider joining this club. Thank you, gentlemen. This was our 3 rounds of where we were asking about why of Toastmasters, trying to find why. Now we move to the 4th round, which is a little bit relaxed. You can relax, and it is called the rapid fire round, where I'll ask you some impromptu questions. I would expect some impromptu answers. Are you all ready for it?
Sure.
Yes.
Sounds good. Toastmaster, your heart, favorite historic speech.
I would have to say the Martin Luther King's "I Had a Dream" speech, for a couple reasons. One, and Simon Sinek, we talked about him before we started here. You know, the art of why, really inspiring guy. He talks about the why, and he explains that Martin Luther King got all those people out there. They all came out there, and he didn't say, "I have a plan." He said, "I have a dream." And that little difference, as an example, inspires other people. He got other people to dream and other people to think, well, what if we could put this all, behind us and be over here? And that simple message and thought process, thought experiment, and motivation really inspired me, and it has to be the best of all time.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chris. Toastmaster Merrill, back to you.
Okay, I don't know how well if you can see this.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Okay, but I was Chief Geronimo, and this was my 11th wife, because I only had one wife at a time, because they kept getting killed or dying from disease. This was my sister Nadeste. I had a couple other brothers and sisters. What I learned from that, I learned a lot about history from that speech, and which they didn't teach this history when I graduated from high school. We didn't have anything about Chief Geronimo, or what we had was maybe very little. The Civil War, how the Indians were treated. I just learned a whole lot about the history of the United States. And even though that with the Indians, I felt there was a tragedy with what had happened to them. There's still a lot of opportunity, a lot of promise, a lot of good things that there is in this country. And people can learn to enjoy those good things. And that's what life is about, is going out and going to a national park, going to a Toastmaster meeting, having breakfast with Sony, Chris's wife. Not that I'm trying to steal her, Chris, but she is like, I mean, the beauty of the people that you encounter is something that you learn through Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Merrill. That was amazing. On this note, dear Toastmasters, please do like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Back to our rapid fire round. Toastmaster Merrill, a historic leader that inspires you a lot, and you take a lot of inspiration from any historic leader that comes to your mind.
John Kennedy, just John Kennedy, with everything he did, and you also have to understand that he had a back problem from the war, and he was very sick as a child. He just did so many amazing things and brought the country forward and just improved everybody's life, if you will, as a leader, and just deep respect and deep admiration for President John Kennedy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Merrill. Toastmaster Chris, your favorite leader, historic leader that you take a lot of passion and inspiration from?
Well, there's kind of two sides to that. Because there's a spiritual side, and you have somebody like the Dalai Lama who just connects with like the awesomeness of reality, and spirit. And then as far as like an eloquent speaker, I really admire President Obama, because he had a great demeanor, very friendly, he was an excellent communicator. And which regardless of what you believe politically, you have to, he was very eloquent. And one of the challenges that I face is anxiety. And I think a lot of people do when they get into speaking. And he was in a lot of, if you look at the debates and some of these things, he's in some really challenging situations where you just kind of, if I was him, I'd tell that guy to off, and he probably, he collected himself and he responded appropriately. And that is a characteristic that I love to see when a speaker can really set back and have that self-control. And so that's why I would pick him. There's plenty of other fantastic Kennedy was certainly one of them as well.
Thank you for the wonderful choices. Toastmaster Chris, your favorite speech that when you delivered, when you prepared, you felt you did the best job until now? Any speech that comes to your mind?
Well, one of the things I tell people is have a strong opening, have your content, and then a strong closing. And so in my club, I think at the time I had a lot of very religious people, and I had three ministers. And I did a speech about spirituality.
Uh-huh.
And so I wanted to have something impactful. So I started my speech with, I don't believe in God. I left a pause in a traditional sense. And then I went in and I talked about spirituality, but it was like the eye contact. That was great. That was the time to look around at everybody and see their reaction. I was like almost hearing a pin drop.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is, that was really powerful.
Wow.
It really connected, and it was a good speech. Not one of my better ones, but it was really impactful because of that opening statement that got their attention. They go, oh, what's this all about? So, I'd encourage people to find something strong, maybe not quite as bold, but find something that connects with your audience and gets them to they're going to pay attention to you. And if you look at the International Speech Contest, those folks do that, and because they've been practicing.
That's a wonderful practical experience. Thank you, Toastmasters. Toastmaster Merrill, your favorite speech that you worked hard, you prepared it, when you delivered it, you felt the whole process was worth it. Any speech that comes to your mind?
One that didn't work?
That worked really well.
One that worked really well. I would say I ended up doing a speech on I made my parents' 50th anniversary party, and then I did a speech on that. So it was great to be able to honor my parents, and it was great to let other people that didn't know them how I felt, and how I was able to say what they contributed to me as a son, and they made a lot of sacrifices. So that speech was very, very meaningful. My dad has passed and my mom has passed, and when my mom passed, I wasn't able to go to one of the Toastmaster meetings. I had a good friend, Paul Gerstenbluth, who's a Toastmaster. I had him read basically a eulogy for my mom, and of course I wrote it. And then in that eulogy, I talked about what my parents wanted from me. Well, my mom was very prolific. What my parents wanted from me was to be a mensch, which in Yiddish means to be a gentleman, to be scholarly and diplomatic, and to treat people as if they were a king or queen. So even though I didn't deliver that speech, I did write it, and it just was, I mean, life is good, and I am just personally very thankful for my parents and how they just tried. They did the best they could. So I just wouldn't pick any other parents.
Okay, good.
Amazing.
Toastmasters gave me a chance to express that.
Thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Merrill. It is open heart, and it is so nice to hear these stories that I would have never known, or you would have never known. Thank you for sharing that. Toastmaster Chris, a book recommendation that you like to recommend to our District 31 audience?
Okay, it's all about relationships. Using your phone, don't be afraid to get on a call, and collaboration, teamwork, helping. So we have in the past, I've been in meetings where there's a Toastmaster that comes up, and they're having a challenge. Maybe they're having a bad day, or the energy is not there. So as somebody in the room that wants to keep that meeting exciting, come in with some good energy. Make sure that you bring in good energy.
It's 10 o'clock.
To a meeting, because that's going to be contagious. So follow up with mentorship. it's all, again, it comes back to relationships. So what I would say is, I call it my pester list. Okay. I tease people lightheartedly because I'm going to call and say, how you doing on your path?
Yeah.
I care that you're doing well. And then I try to give them suggestions and that sort of thing. That's really, what it's all about, is really helping people feel like they're part of a community and that they belong to something that's important and that we really care. And if you really care, which is what you need to do, that those relationships will build, your club will grow, and that follow up and that teamwork will really help everybody grow, and you're going to have a strong club. So relationships, collaboration, and use your telephone. Don't be afraid of it. And not for text, but communicate and build relationships.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chris. Toastmaster Merrill, a book recommendation that you like to give to our audience? Any book that comes to your mind?
Okay, there's just too many. Excuse me. There's just too many. In 1 week I might be reading 3 or 4 different books.
Wow.
So, I think a book that can help the person the most would be Unlimited by Jim Quick. And this teaches you speed reading, teaches you how to take notes, teaches you PEG memory system. Also, I have a subscription to Mind Valley, where you have all these self-help programs by, I think the name of the person that started that, and you might need to help me with the name, but I think it's Mishkan. I think Mishkan is his first name. But definitely, if you check out Mind Valley, and then you see all the newest things, you'll grow from it.
Thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Merrill. Now, a food that is very close to your palate, Toastmaster Merrill. Any food that is your go-to food?
Okay, so my favorite food is pizza, and also the second, and what goes along with that would be lox and bagels. Lox is smoked salmon. And then we have a dessert called halava, which is, I like to get the one with chocolate. So pizza, lox and bagels, and halava, and I could live forever.
Thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Merrill. That brought water in my mouth. Toastmaster Chris, a food that is very close to your palate.
Well, I used to run a small pizza shop, so I did plenty of the pizza, and it was like an art. Well, what are we going to throw on there today? It was kind of fun. But I like a lot of ethnic foods. I really love Indian food. Just the right amount of spice. I love Mexican food. My wife's from Brazil, so I have a lot of rice and beans and various combinations thereof.
Yeah.
Those are probably my favorites, but I'm really open to trying new foods. I really like to leave my palate open. It's just like, food is kind of comes back to relationships too.
Yeah.
That, every person is a little bit different. And one of the things that we have to learn to do as Toastmasters, or humans, period, is being able to tolerate and accept people for their differences.
Yeah.
Somebody, in leadership, if you're like, come on, can't you just get it right? You can't be like that. You have to just well, how can I help this person get it right?
Yeah.
So food is like relationships in that, and I like to keep an open mind so that I can enjoy every food for its best qualities.
Thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Chris. Now, a restaurant that you all both like to recommend, that you all have a good time, try to go there, unwind yourself. Any restaurant that comes to your mind, Toastmaster Merrill?
My favorite restaurant is Hemingway's on South Main Street in Providence. It's a fresh seafood restaurant. It's part of a Newport group, which means there's about 5 different restaurants in that group. And just the other week, I went there twice because it was my birthday. And the servers are absolutely incredible. They roll out the red carpet for myself. My uncle also, my Uncle Jim also frequents it, and they just roll out the red carpet for us it's a very classy restaurant. The food is delicious. So if you want to go, we can go to Hemingway's.
Thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Merrill. Happy birthday. Wishing you a healthy and long life on that note. Toastmaster Chris, your favorite restaurant?
Well, I've been to Hemingway's. I love that place too. We're in Fall River, so there's all kinds of fantastic Portuguese restaurants, which go try them all. But I'm going to be a little quirky here in that my wife works, she's a nurse, and she's worked at a variety of hospitals, and we've interacted. And you know what's kind of strange? What's really a good, people complain about hospital food. Well, a hospital that gets it right, and we've actually just gone to the hospital just for the cafeteria, is Charlton. Charlton has a fantastic
Interesting
service. And I'd just say that's a little quirky. I'd rather go there than to a McDonald's or a Burger King. Or
True.
It's not my favorite place, but
Yeah.
I
Good
just
food.
came to mind. But Hemingway's is up there, and there's just so many great Portuguese restaurants in Fall River, and I'd encourage people to come and experience them all.
Thank you. That wraps up our talk show. Is there anything else, Toastmaster Merrill, that you like to share with our district that I've not asked?
Well, just one quick thing. As far as there's usually a question of where do I get speech ideas, and I like to I like to tell you three things. One is Darren LaCroix, who's pretty well known in Toastmasters, past international champion. He said to think about when you were 8 years old and the stories you might have from when you were 8. There are golden nuggets there. The second thing, which I learned from Audrey, the director in District 31, she said to make a list, the alphabet, do A through Z, and under each letter write a word, and that could be a topic for your speech. The third thing is, and I just discovered this recently, I was doing table topics, and I gave people an item like a toothbrush or a spoon or a bank. I didn't give any $100 bills, but I had them speak on the subject for 2 minutes for table topics. And then what I'm going to be asking them down the road is take that table topic that they talked to for 2 minutes and turn it into a speech.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Toastmaster Chris, anything that I've not yet asked would like to share with our district?
Wow. Okay. Toastmasters is all about having fun too.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things that District 31 has, and goes out to everybody, is the traveling gavel. All right. So you have to have 4 people to go and capture it from another. Capture the flag. So it's pretty fun. And it's going to do what I think is really an important part of what we need to do more as clubs: collaborate.
Yeah.
Because you have so many people participate in the meeting to make it work. So you collaborate, and that's cool. We are, I'm not going to say when, but very soon we are going to capture the gavel, and we will have the gavel. And I'd like to throw that challenge out to come and get it from us. However, what I'm going to suggest is I want a club that's having a hard time. You got 4 members, you got 6 members. Come take it from us. We're a virtual club. Well, we're a hybrid club, so we're relatively easy. You'll still have to send somebody over to pick it up, okay? But I want a club that really is struggling to take advantage of this, to be able to promote their club and talk about great things, etc. And then I want a strong club to go and get it from them, and vice versa, so that this gets out there again, because I thought it was a really cool program. And when we started, this is pre-COVID, it kind of like disappeared for a while, and nobody knew where it was. But pre-COVID, I was like, God, why don't we go get the gavel? I couldn't, it was like tracking where it was going.
Yeah.
So this is an exciting thing for Toastmasters. It's out there. Come, find it. If you can get it from us, you got to kind of connect with us beforehand. But if not, I'll tell you where it is. Okay. So soon you'll be able to come and get the gavel from us. I throw that out there. So if you're a club that's struggling and you want a little more PR, maybe Vera will, interview you guys and we'll get some momentum going for you. Capture the gavel. Wicked fun. There's more information on the District 31 website, which, oh, by the way, there's this really cool YouTube channel that this guy Vera is doing, and you got to go check it out. Like and subscribe. We love you, Vera. Thank you for having us. Fall River Innovators, come join us the second and fourth Thursday of every month. fallriverinnovators.org. We have a lot of information on our website. There's a link. You can click the button, join us there, or come to 385 Columbia Street in Fall River. Please join us. Please follow this guy. He's really cool, and he's doing some great things for the district. Thanks. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chris. Toastmaster Chris, that is a wonderful ending. And you both could have been anywhere in the world, but thank you for coming down and talking to us. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Toastmaster Merrill, Toastmaster Chris.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Dear Toastmasters, this was a fun interview with two gentlemen from Fall River Innovative Toastmasters Club. If you would like to come down and talk to us, please do mention your name in our chat window and we will try to connect with you. If you want your favorite Toastmaster to come and talk to us, do mention their name. We will go and talk to us. Support the district by subscribing, liking, and sharing to our YouTube video. We are motivated when we see those likes, when we see more subscribers, and we like to create more content for you. On that note, stay safe, enjoy the winter. We will talk to you on our next episode. Until then, bye bye.